And already in full bloom, the sight of spring, we take you to Kew Gardens for their first ever Blossom Festival.
It's the first day of spring, so where better to celebrate it than the Blossom Festival here at Kew Gardens.
Now it's staying lighter longer, and today feeling like spring, if this is anything to go by. The blossom, which can be seen all over London and which has come a little early this year. In fact, Kew Gardens is holding its first Blossom Festival, and after weeks of rain, who's complaining? Certainly not Alice Bandukravi, who's been to check it out.
A carpet of blue, a sea of daffodils. Who can resist the sight of spring flowers? But the real head-turners are the pinks and whites of the outgoing magnolia and the soon-to-be peaking blossom. At this time of year, London comes to life with its flowering cherry and apple trees, and nowhere more so than here. The first trees to come out are the magnolia, which look magnificent behind you, and I can see petals as we speak falling.
Yes.
They're just on the turn, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it also depends on which area you're in as well. And so what we've done is we've chosen 6 blossom hotspots, and you've got a mix in those areas of magnolias, cherries, asanos, and the magnolias tend to come out earlier anyway. This year we are seeing things coming out a little bit earlier than expected, but that's across the board. It's not just in Kew Gardens.
This is the best I've seen Kew Gardens for a long time. It's absolutely glorious.
I love it. I was so worried. I'm coming from Boston. I was so worried I'm going to miss the cherry blossoms over there, but I'm really thrilled.
Today is officially the first day of spring, and it does seem that the blossom has come early. Horticulturalists here at Kew Gardens point to the mild winter that we've had, but they're monitoring the longer term trends to find out how much of this early flowering is down to climate change. But early blossom means an earlier food supply for pollinators, so at least they're happy. And this year, Kew Gardens is setting the blossom to sound, specially composed by the Royal College of Music. If we listen closely, we can just hear it. It's very atmospheric, it's almost sci-fi.
Yeah.
Tell us the mood you wanted to evoke with this music.
So I used percussive instruments, but actually the interesting thing is with percussion instruments, you listen out for the hit rather than the delay and the sound afterwards. And I quite often reverse the sounds, so you can hear the aftermath of the sound first and then the hit.
And there's more blooming to come, with bluebells later in the spring. Alice Bandukravi, BBC London at Kew Gardens.
Spectacular and resplendent. Sally is down at Kew Gardens for us this evening, and Sally, it's all looking wonderfully pink where you are. Spring has sprung, hasn't it?
We're all springing at the moment, Lucrezia, but this magnolia has come out 2.5 weeks early, which is why there is a carpet of these slightly sad petals on the floor, but the blossom still on the trees looks amazing. And look at these pictures. These are of the blossom elsewhere here at Kew. Some gorgeous cherries just coming out now. Their festival starts this weekend, and they're doing it with the Royal College of Music. So music and blossom, what's not to love? But I also want to show you these pictures. Now this is Kew's weather station. Now it's rather unassuming, isn't it? I don't want to be rude, but it looks a bit homemade. But this incredible data comes out of it that feeds into weather or data all around the world. And Kevin, you are head of trees here, and you've been looking at this data since the 80s. Tell us, what's happened to the frosts?
Yeah, so we've had a real big reduction in our frost days. And now that's really significant when we look at trees, especially flowering trees. These look amazing now, but as you said, they're out 2 weeks early. Now, if they don't have the dormancy period, they're not able to build the energy to produce these lovely flowers. So as time goes on and we have less frost days, we're going to see less intensity in colour and maybe a reduction on the amount of flowers.
Oh gosh, I mean, it's kind of a bit sad. Thankfully, at the moment, they all look amazing. Now, you are looking at something that just fascinated me. You're looking at what trees we're going to be growing here in 2090. Where are they going to come from?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's a great research question. So we've now identified areas of Azerbaijan, which is going to be more like our future climate in 2090. So we're trying to understand now how they fit into this landscape.
Gosh, Kevin, I mean, that's kind of quite startling, isn't it? Thank you so much for joining us. In slightly better news, this obviously looks fabulous. Did I wear a coat today? Yes, I did. Was I hot? Did I take it off? Yes. In other good news, we're getting an extra 4 minutes of daylight a day at the moment, which means half an hour a week. So what are you going to do with that extra daylight?